Are you thinking of going to Wales in the UK anytime soon? Maybe you live in Wales. Maybe you want to travel around Wales. It's a lovely place. I've been there many times. It's a delightful place. The scenery is fantastic. The climbing up on the mountains is superb. I don't know if you've been up there. I've made a video up at Cad Idris, I think it was, with my lovely daughter. Beautiful place. Only if you do go to Wales at the moment, you may find that everything takes a little longer to get around. And that is, of course, as you may have seen, that they have now reduced the speed limit in a number of places to 20 miles an hour instead of the normal 30 mile an hour speed limit. In fact, they say, I think I heard that it is if you see the traffic, not the traffic lights, the street lights more than a certain distance apart, the normal sort of distance apart, then that's an indication that you're in a 20-mile zone area. And I've heard reports that some people didn't quite get that. They saw street lighting on the motorway, and they started going 20 miles an hour on the motorway. No, it is actually within certain zones. You need to see the actual 20 mile an hour thing to know that that's going on. But if you reduce a vehicle down to 20 miles an hour in so many different areas, you're making the car work a lot harder. It's pumping out more fumes for a start because it's not economical to go at that speed, and you're in second or third gear or changing between the two, trying to keep that sort of speed, and you're pumping out more pollution, which I thought was the plan of the government to reduce the pollution because of that nonsense of net zero. Look, let me have a look. Here's the thing, and it came out, I believe, today. This is the government sets out path to zero emissions by 2035. Look at that. This is new. I thought it was 2030, but no, it's 2035 now. 80% of new cars and 70% of new vans sold in Great Britain, so that's all over the place, in Great Britain, not just Wales, will be set to zero emissions by 2030, increasing 100% by 2035. So we've got this, new target now. And the government, it says here, look at this, it says the government today, 28th of September, as I record this, although this is actually going out a couple of days later, set out the percentage of new zero-emission cars manufacturers will be required to produce each year up to 2030, following the Prime Minister's proportionate and pragmatic decision to delay the ban on new diesel and petrol cars from 2030 to 2035. I love the way they say that, proportionate and pragmatic. In other words, people have kicked up a bit of a stink about this, and maybe some professionals have pointed out that actually it does seem preposterous that you won't be able to get people onto electric cars in time. There's not enough cobalt, is it? There's not enough heavy metals to make the batteries for it. You've got to get those kids down the mine shafts, and they got to look for it, which is basically slavery. But never mind that. We don't mind a bit of child slavery when it's kids on the other side of the world doing it. Just for goodness sake, don't show British children having to scrabble about with their bare hands, looking for these precious metals so that they can ship it to the other side of the world and make people happy. No. God's sake, don't show that. That would be awful. But never mind all that. So this, the proportionate and pragmatic decision that the Prime Minister, ever so nicely, he's given us an extra 5 years, really. Is that what it's like? Meanwhile, people in Wales are being punished, and Cornwall is soon to follow, and you can bet your bottom dollar that the rest of us are going to get this imposed on us, unless, of course, we say no, which is something that I think we probably ought to be saying right now. No, thank you. Nice of you to offer. Lovely signs. Take them down and put some different signs up. Thank you very much. Who wants to do that? Well, apparently, not many people do. Look at this. This is pictures of protesting, of people saying no thank you, no to 20-mile limits, no, do not comply, defy the travel lockdown, 20 miles an hour permits, it goes on and on. Look, millions of these people are sick to death with this nonsense of 20-mile-an-hour zones. I mean, it is totally and utterly ridiculous, you know. And I love this, the snail in Wales, in the Welsh colours, of course, because that does seem to be what's going on. And you think it's not everywhere? Let's have a look at this interactive map that Wales Online have kindly produced. All the red dots, I think, are the areas in which you have 20-mile-an-hour speed. So, of course, it's all in the conurbation. But let's just go in and let's have a little examination, shall we? We'll go in a bit more. And we can see, look, they're like leeches, aren't they, on this map? They're just like leeches. Areas, tons of areas. Every time you come off a motorway and you're driving about, you're suddenly stopped. You go down into second, you go down into third, and everywhere you go, look at that. Oh, there's pink ones. That's quite nice. I don't know what the pink means. Maybe they're even slower. Who knows? And then, you know, wherever you end up, look at that. There we are. That's Newport. Loads of 20. I mean, it's extensive areas where you've suddenly got to slow right down. Imagine the frustration that is going to cause. It's going to cause a lot of frustration, and people are going to get very upset, and some people are just going to accelerate away. I mentioned this before in another video. The thing is, if the idea is to try and get to net zero, I mean, let's just assume that there is such a thing as man-made global warming, or let's assume that there is a catastrophe, that Greta was right, how dare you, that there is a catastrophe that in 10, 12, maybe 13, maybe 15, maybe 200, maybe 1,000 years' time, the water level will actually rise up. Maybe it'll be clean water. Who knows? Maybe it'll be defluoridated water. Maybe it'll be structured water by that time. Who knows? But anyway, the point being that maybe we are about to get to some form of catastrophe any minute. Oh my God, it's all coming towards us, and that we've got to slow the traffic. We've got to do. Is this a good measure? Even if it was, that you are actually then, by going in second and third, making the engine work even harder, chucking out higher pollutions, putting people on the road significantly more time, because it's going to take you far longer to go through a town if you've got to now reduce your speed from 30 to 20. So that's going to add a bit. A friend of mine called Andy, I'll leave a link to his video because it's very good. He talks about this point. He says he's going to have basically 2 days on his trip. If he was to spend 1 year abiding by this 20-mile-an-hour limit, then he is actually ending up, and every week I think it is, he does 15-minute journey, and it's normally 15 minutes, but every week or every month, whatever it is, 2 hours extra in his life, 48 hours has accrued in order to accommodate the 20 mile an hour instead of the 30 mile an hour, which I think you'll agree is a bit mad, isn't it? I mean, cars are not designed that. You may as well all go out and buy some of the old milk floats. At least they seem to have batteries, didn't they? They didn't have the big, massive, great big batteries that the old days that we have now in these cars. The milk floats didn't catch fire and weren't hazards, and you didn't need to sort of have all these parking meters over there taking the electricity from 2 households to charge up 1 car. Does seem a bit bonkers, doesn't it? Does seem a bit mad. In my world, maybe you think I'm, I don't care about the planet. Of course, no, absolutely not. Let's just slow everything right down and get contained to all these. I mean, look at it. It's everywhere, isn't it? I mean, it is. It's not just me. I mean, the whole thing. And you wait till it's the rest of the UK. It's absolutely going to be pitiful. So, but if that's what you want, if that's what you think is important, if you think that going at 20 miles an hour is going to make a big difference to reducing net zero right down, when you've got China, have they reduced down to 20 miles an hour? Have they stopped all their coal-powered stations? Are they bigger contributors to the pollution of the world? Are they, or is it Wales? Is it Wales that have got to be penalised by this? And then Cornwall, and then, of course, I don't know, Scotland, and then England, and basically all of the UK, Great Britain. Have we all got to be penalised just so that China can have yet another power station? I don't know about that, but answers on a postcard and send them to me at Vobes Towers. Don't Don't send them on by car, for goodness sake. It'll never get here, not at 20 miles an hour. Better send it by carrier pigeon. It is another crazy thing. It just goes to show, in many ways, in actual fact, that the net zero target is a nonsense. If that's to reduce emissions, that is a nonsense, reducing people to 20 miles an hour. I mean, isn't that the thing? Isn't that just the whole thing? The point, it is just so pointless.